Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Got week 4 edition of the Future Fantasy Devy Stock Report. Jason DiRienzo, my podcast co-host, and we're going to talk about 6 players today. 4 stock up players and 2 stock down players. All right, we're through 4 weeks of college football, and we're going to get a really good, going to start to get an idea of what our future fantasy football players are looking like. So if you're out there playing fantasy, you play Dynasty specifically, and you're looking for a channel here on YouTube that's going to give you an early glimpse of future players that are going to hit our Dynasty rosters, that are going to be future rookie picks for you, hit that subscribe button. This channel is dedicated to you. So I'm going to insert the audio and video here from our podcast. Enjoy the show. 6 players that should hit our Dynasty rosters. So enjoy the show. All right, Jason, are you ready to get to our Devy stock report for the week?
Absolutely.
All right, man. I'm gonna kick us off here. I want to talk about NC State wide receiver Kevin Concepcion. All right, 5'11", 187 pounds. Had a fantastic game against Virginia this past weekend. Really, really good game. So he's a true freshman. And he was a 3-star prospect. He was ranked 97th in his class. But I'll tell you, I really like what I see. He was kind of a hot C2C supplemental draft guy. I saw him taken in a few drafts, but I'll tell you, he right now is leading NC State as a true freshman with 22 receptions on the season. The second best wide receiver after week 4 of college football has 7, Julian Gray. And then there's 2 other guys that have 9 receptions and 8 receptions. So here you got a true freshman kid coming in here that is just taking the reins. And I'll tell you, what do I like about his game? I made a game film. It's on the YouTube channel here. I love his short area quickness, defensive manipulation. And anytime you can see defensive manipulation, I think from a true freshman coming in, his first touchdown, it was kind of a corner route, and he kind of hesitated and then gave a shimmy, and kind of then took off, and you could see the acceleration and speed out of his breaks. I was really impressed. Second level vision, I came away impressed with. He had a really good yak, caught the ball on the left side of the field and used his defenders to create angles and better space creation from the defenders, and got a big gain of like 30 yards. And he's a vertical threat. I don't know exactly what his speed is, but again, true freshman coming in, NC State, 22 receptions, leading by far the leading receiver on the team. That is impressive enough. So I got a video on the YouTube channel, man. Check it out. Again, I think it's that size and frame that the NFL seems to like, the 5'11", 185 to 190 pound player. Came really way impressed with him. He's a deeper stash here, a deeper play here on this first player for my Devy stock report. But like what I saw from Kevin Concepcion.
Nice. I'm gonna have to check him out. I have not watched too much of him, so good name to bring up. I'm gonna move over to Brendan Rice is going to be my riser right now, and the role is really starting to shift in his direction. The previous 3 games before week 4, he had 6 total targets. In this game, he had 9, 7 receptions, 133 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Had a really nice reception for 43 yards in this one, and just looks like he is becoming more of a primary type of target, and you can understand why. I mean, he's 6'3", he's got good size, and we were raving about his last game of the season last year, thinking he could definitely be something, and it looks like that's starting to manifest. So NFL teams are going to really start identifying that, hey, this is Jerry Rice's kid. He's got the size speed combination that we're looking for, and now he's becoming a primary weapon for the number 1 overall quarterback in Caleb Williams. The target's going to be on him, so he's definitely a riser for me.
Yeah, it's nice to see him getting. So it seems like USC just rotates who that number 1 receivers each week. So I did not see that game, but yeah, I'm anxious to check it out, because I did a thing on the YouTube channel too for him where we were looking for that nuanced route running from him. So I don't know if you saw his route running in that particular game, but I'd love to see him.
Yeah, it's more the camera angle that I wasn't able to see.
Yeah, it's tough.
So that's the hard part.
Yeah. My Devy stock, second Devy stock riser I want to talk about is Tyler Brown, Clemson wide receiver. Another short receiver here, slot receiver, 5'11", 180 pounds. He was a 3-star recruit. He was 122nd ranked in his class. Again, true freshman. He's a local boy who got a late offer from Clemson, and here he is coming in and just really showcasing his skills the last 2 weeks. Played Florida State this week. We talked about it briefly earlier. 5 receptions, 84 yards. He played in the slot, played primarily in the slot. He looks like a dynamic athlete to me. Every time the ball was coming to him, he had space around him, right? He had really good hands, made a really nice catch in this game. I'd like his ability to create for himself. Like I said, every time he came and the ball was coming to him, he seemed to be open. I think he knows how to work those angles and in the zone coverage and stuff like that. But I came away really impressed. I mean, I think that we're looking, we talked earlier about Bo Collins not coming up. Antonio Williams was out, so that's probably why he got a lot of run. But I'll be interested to see when Antonio Williams comes back, how they are going to integrate, Brown into the playbook, because they said that even when he does come back, they have to get Williams and Brown on the field at the same time. So Tyler Brown, again, if you're in a C2C waiver draft coming up, it's he's going to be a hot commodity. He's going to be a guy that's probably coming off the board. I know a lot of C2C leagues, week 4 is the the week where a lot of us have waivers. I got a couple claims in for him already, but Tyler Brown, Clemson wide receiver, is the name to keep an eye on.
As a guy, did not expect to see his name with those Clemson receivers.
I'm going deep this week. I'm going deep this week.
I love it, man.
Yeah, I'm throwing some new names out here. So,
yeah, my guy is going to be Damien Martinez, Oregon State running back. And man, one of the things that really stands out to me, I think it was the San Jose State game. I believe that's week 2, week 3, and he's 230 some odd pounds, but man, the acceleration that he has, the burst, he plays like he's a smaller running back in a big back type of frame. And he doesn't have a lot of the normal power that I would want from a bigger back. And a lot of times, every time I want to see it, he's not really using the power. He's more elusive, and he's got a beautiful one cut. So I think if he really had to run through the tackles, and I have seen him do that, but it's against lesser competition, so I can't really take too much of that and kind of see what that's going to be like at the next level. But I love his run style, and he looks like a phenomenal pass catcher as well. So he can take on that similar role. So he's at the size, the speed combination, just a lot of things I'm seeing from him. I want to know what it's going to be like if he faces better competition. But from what he's done production wise, he's been incredible. And I got to think that NFL teams are keeping their eyes on a guy like this.
Yeah, he had a very productive season last year as well. He was on a lot of Devy radars last year, so I like that call a lot. So we're going to do 2 stock up guys, and then we're going to do a stock down. So I'm going to talk about my stock down player, Nicholas Singleton. All right. So I watched the Penn State game. It was boring as shit. All right. Because they played Iowa. I mean, goodness sake, Drew Waller had a nice game, 4 touchdowns, not a lot of yards, but man, they were pounding the rock. But here we are through week 4 of college football. Katron Allen has 63 carries, averaging 4.4 yards a carry, and Nicholas Singleton 53 carries, averaging 3.8. So again, we're not going to be box scores scouters. That's not that's not what we do. So, but again, it's interesting just to look at those stats. But right now he was like the Devy #1 running back in all of Devy, right? Which means, if you're playing fantasy football, you're not really sure what Devy is, for the 2024, 2025, 2026 class. I mean, he on a lot of ranks, and was mine too, in the top 3 or 4. And like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, it was, we can't overreact, right? So I'm not saying he's dropping way down, but I think, Katron Allen seems to be the favorite running back in Penn State right now. And maybe Franklin sees something in Katron Allen that is going to give him a better chance to win. Now, this particular game against Iowa, I mean, they were feeding Katron Allen a little bit more, trying to get one of these guys uncorked. But, it could be the Penn State offensive line. They just, there's nothing explosive about the Penn State offense. There's nothing. I mean, we saw Singleton, break off these big runs, and maybe we'll see that this year. But man, I'll tell you, there's not been many wow moments at all in Singleton's film this year, at all through week 4. And they played some not so good football teams, and it's only going to get tougher from here on out. Play Michigan, Ohio State coming up. So keep your eye on and Singleton. The Devy running back landscape is really tough right now. I'm telling you, there's no Bijan Robinsons out there. There's no lock as what the #1 Devy running back is. So Singleton is just my stock down, because I was expecting through week 4 that we would be having a lot more wow moments given the competition that he's played.
Right. There were times last year where Kaytron Allen definitely outshined Nick Singleton, and that was last year. So you were hoping, I know exactly what you were hoping for. I was hoping for too, just a little bit more as a creator. Hopefully, we
Creator.
see it as the
Yeah.
season goes on.
Yeah. I
Right.
think that's a really good point.
Um,
The creation of, he's got to be able to create on his own when things aren't working his way all the time.
correct. Right. Man, you talked about Tyler Brown. I'm gonna have my stock down on Antonio Williams, and I know he didn't play in this last game. I want to say that Tyler Brown and Antonio Williams were playing in the same game
2 weeks.
the previous week. But anyway, I was hoping to see Antonio Williams doing what Tyler Brown's doing. Like I thought maybe this would be that breakout year. He hasn't been healthy, but I think it's more so why he's down for me is I had him really high. I mean, I had him tied with
Mm,
Evan Stewart as wide receiver 2 and Devy. So that's that's just because of the all 22 breakdown that you and I did, watching a lot more Antonio Williams. Like I do think that he could be a stellar NFL receiver.
yeah.
We just got to see him on the field. So it's been a slow start. He needs to be healthy. Best ability is availability. So hopefully he gets back out there soon and performs. But for right now, I got to say that he's definitely can't be that high based on what's been going on the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, and it's kind of what we talked about too at the beginning of the pod here. It's a lot of this is based on projection. We see traits. We want to
Right.
see that production match the traits that we see. So again, Singleton and Antonio Williams as stock down players don't necessarily mean that we're like, okay, they're sells. I mean, it's just like it's a stock down right now, given where they were going into the beginning of the season. All right. It only
Right.
makes sense to, reassess, your ranks and where you are.